Thank you so much for joining me today at Everyday Yoga. My name is Christine, and we are continuing our chakra series with a practice today on the third eye, or Anja chakra. I've been relating the yogic tradition to the Western tradition, or the chakra system, to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, one of the most well-known published studies about how we have different levels of needs that need to be met before we can reach the higher level. So the lowest level of the Maslow's hierarchy, as well as the chakra tradition, is the root chakra, or our physical needs. We must have food and shelter before we can try to rise above that in any way, shape, or form. If those two things aren't met, then we probably are blocked in other areas as well. The next level is our emotional needs, our sense of safety and security beyond just having the physical needs met. The next level is the solar plexus chakra, our sense of self, our self-esteem, our ability to act and do. And then our heart chakra, the place of love and belonging, compassion and forgiveness. The throat chakra, our area of communication, where we speak, where we listen, where we are our authentic selves. And now coming to the third eye chakra, which even in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this is the place of aesthetics, beauty, light. You can see that if you don't have your physical needs met, if you can't express your emotional needs, if you don't have self-esteem or a sense of love and belonging, if you don't feel free to speak your authentic truth, how can you be concerned about the beauty in your environment and surrounding yourselves with things that are aesthetically pleasing, not just to the eye, but also to the mind, to that imagination, to that intuitive sense. So now that we're here at this level, we can see that if we can unblock or balance out that third eye chakra, we can begin to broaden our horizons and see how we can use all of these lower, well-balanced functions to bring us here to this higher level. Another thing about the third eye chakra, which I think is really, really important, especially now, is it is our ability to get beyond the ego and not be so fixed on our thoughts and on our beliefs. It's a willingness to be open to other points of view, and maybe even being willing to change our way of thinking. This hits home right now because as and probably has for millennia before us, there's probably always been times when it's us versus them. It's the Democrats versus the Republicans. It's the Christians against the whatever other religion. I don't want to get too much into politics or religion, but you can see the importance of being willing to hear other sides and being willing to say, you know what, maybe I have been looking at this wrong, and being willing to admit that and learn and be curious. Just for my own experience with that, I was born into a very long line of self-employed family. My ex-husband and I were self-employed. My parents were self-employed. My grandfather was self-employed. I don't know how far back, but when you're a small business owner, you tend to kind of vote Republican, because to that sort of person, you work really, really hard to build your business. And the last thing you want to do is spend a lot more money on taxes, or maybe even spend a lot more money on social services for things like welfare and housing and food assistance, because you feel like, I worked hard for my money, those people should have to work hard for their money too. I just don't want to give my stuff away to them. But as I have progressed through my yogic studies, I have, to my family's horror, become more and more, well, centrist technically, because in all things I think it's necessary to have balance, but more and more aware of the connection that we all have. There's a cool little meme that I saw once that I never was able to find again, but it was 4 dudes in a boat, and the boat was sinking, and 2 guys were down here in the low part that was almost underwater, furiously bailing out water, and the other 2 dudes were up here at the top of the boat, completely dry, going, I'm sure glad we're not them. But they don't see they are in the same boat, and we are all connected. One of the big things in yoga is the awareness of the breath and how we can use it to regulate our body's function and regulate our nervous system. But more than that, it connects us all. As I exhale, you inhale, and vice versa. As I exhale, the plants all around me benefit from my carbon dioxide. And as I inhale all of the oxygen that all that flora is providing. And it's a two-way street all the way through. And even in this time of COVID, we can see we are always sharing the breath. So we're connected whether we like it or not. And if 2 of us are sinking, we're all sinking. So maybe being willing to think of new things in new ways, or old things in new ways, perhaps. So today, let's go ahead and find a comfortable seat on our mat. I will meet you there. So let's go ahead and start our practice in child's pose. We want to stimulate and focus on this third eye as much as possible throughout our practice. The color associated with the third eye is beautiful indigo blue. I don't have anything to wear that's blue, but my mat is blue, so I think that's pretty cool. But if you want to bring in more blue colors as you're practicing to balance your third eye chakra, if you want to eat blue colored foods, not many of those, mostly berries, blueberries and other kinds of berries, you can certainly do that too if that resonates with you. Or as you bring your mental awareness to this third eye area, you can just kind of visualize that color blue. So however that connects to you, if that doesn't make sense to you or sound right to you, then we're just going to get a nice little yoga practice. So let's come into child's pose. You can take a wide-legged child's pose with the big toes together, or you can bring the legs together, knees, shins, feet parallel, tops of the feet down on the mat, and then crawl your fingertips all the way out and forward, and then take the hands down along the mat, flipping the palms up to be right next to the feet. And then you can bring your forehead either to a block on the medium setting, the high setting, the low setting, or all the way down to the mat, if that feels good to you. But wherever you feel comfortable and at ease, and where you can physically have that third eye connected. So our connection here is to the floor, but we can visualize that it is connected to the earth, that we are grounded here even through our intuition. This is a really nice restorative pose where you can inhale and notice the expansion of the back body. And as you exhale, you can just kind of let the arms be heavy and let the shoulders just sort of drape down towards the ground. You can repeat an affirmation here. Maybe just a simple, I trust my intuition. You can say that out loud or silently in your head. I trust my intuition. And let's just bring our attention, our mental awareness to that third eye and the connection to the earth.
Breathing into the back body. Just maybe slowing down the breath. One more full breath here. And then let's go ahead and bring the arms out in front and gently push into the mat to bring yourself up to a seated hero's pose here. Gently pressing into the tops of the thighs so that you can draw the crown of the head towards the sky. Having your back be nice and long. Tucking the chin. Bringing your focus, your inner mental awareness to that third eye area. And just notice how the energy might have changed in your body after having been in child's pose for a few breaths. And then we'll go ahead and come down to Dolphin pose. Dolphin pose is kind of like downward facing dog, where we're pressing into the hands and we're peeling the hips up towards the sky. But instead of having the hands on the earth, we'll come all the way down to the forearms, and the elbows will kind of act in place of the hands. Sort of walk your knees up a little bit closer to your body. Curl your toes under. And as you inhale, peel the hips up towards the sky, bringing the third eye down to the mat or maybe to a block. Now, it doesn't have to be touching if you want to just keep your mental awareness there at the third eye area. But wherever you are, whether to the mat or to a block or just with the mental focus, you can have a gentle bend in the knees, pressing the heels down towards the earth, pressing those forearms and those elbows onto the mat so that you can draw the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing here, strengthening the physical body as well as connecting to that intuition. And here you might repeat an affirmation, either one that resonates with you or maybe I see the bigger picture and I trust my inner wisdom to guide me. I see the bigger picture and I trust my inner wisdom to guide me. And when you're ready to release, gently bring the knees back down towards the earth. Pull back up into our hero's pose. You might find that you're a little bit lightheaded from that gentle inversion. But just notice how you feel and how the energy has changed in your body. Another variation that we could take here is a headstand prep. Now, I don't typically do headstand without an assist because I think that that creates too much risk for the neck. But if you do the preparation for headstand, you would come back down with your forearms on the mat. Bring your hands to your elbows, kind of like, I don't know, I'm aging myself here, but if anybody knows I Dream of Jeannie, where she has her arms like that, so we want our arms like this. I'll just show you for those of you who are not familiar with that old show. And then take your hands out and bring them together, interlacing the fingers. You'll place the crown of your head kind of where I have my ponytail, right into the palms of your hands. And we'll also bring the forehead down to the mat here. If this doesn't feel good to you, come back to dolphin pose, or even go ahead and come on back to child's pose. If you're here, curl the toes under, walk the knees inward, and peel the hips up towards the sky. Really pressing into those forearms, pressing into the elbows, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, having more weight in your arms than in your head, because we do not want to put that neck at risk. And if we were going to do handstand, we would walk the toes a little closer and take one leg up and then the other and eventually both. But we're not going to do that today. If you have desires of doing headstands, there's tons of videos out there that can help you walk through the different steps of getting there. So whether you're in child's pose or dolphin pose or here in headstand prep, you can repeat your affirmation here. My thoughts are clear and focused. My thoughts are clear and focused. Noticing that connection of your forehead to the earth, or bringing your mental awareness there if there's no physical connection. And when you're ready to release, bring the knees back out, down to the earth, and we'll all meet in child's pose. Before we come to seated again, we want to let the blood kind of balance out in the head here. You may still feel a little lightheaded as we roll back up to hero's pose. Reconnect with the breath. Take a moment just to recalibrate. And then we'll go ahead and come to tabletop position. Let's just do a few rounds of cat-cow here. Curling the toes under, bending the elbows, drawing the heart and the gaze forward. Exhaling to bring the tops of the feet to the earth, drawing the navel to the spine. Inhaling cow pose, dropping the belly, keeping that focused awareness on that third eye area. Maybe visualizing the color blue, moving nice and slow with the breath. And then we'll go ahead and step the right foot forward, coming into a nice low lunge here. Let's bring the hands to the heart. And the next time you inhale, let's go ahead and bring the arms down and out and up, coming into a V shape alongside the ears as you bring the attention to that third eye area, rotating the pinkies inward towards one another to actively make space in between the shoulder blades. This really uplifted posture not only feels good emotionally, but it actually reboots the adrenal system, allowing the fluid to flow in the opposite direction that it usually does. One more big inhale here, and then we'll exhale the right hand to the top of the thigh and then the left. Really pressing into that thigh to draw yourself up with a nice straight spine. And then we'll go ahead and release the hands back down to the mat and switch legs. Coming into our low lunge and inhaling those arms down, around, and up. Coming into that victorious pose. We just finished up the Olympics. And so think, aha, I nailed it. This beautiful open, shoulder blades drawn down the back, crown up towards the sky, chin tucked, heart lifted, pinkies rotated in towards one another. Vision is focused and aware. My vision is focused and aware. And then we'll go ahead and exhale the hands to the heart. And then bring the left hand and then the right to the top of the thigh, pressing gently to draw yourself up into that nice, long, tall spine. And then we'll bring the fingertips down to the earth, curl the back toes under, lift the back knee, and step the right foot to meet the left. Coming to the top of your mat, and I'm just coming back a smidgen so that you can see me okay. And we'll be here in forward fold. Your knees can be really bent generously, kind of ragdoll, the arms down. Just releasing the weight of the head towards the earth, keeping your focus on that third eye area. You could also cradle your elbows in your palms, framing the face. Inhaling into the back body, letting the belly sit on top of the thighs. Maybe straightening the legs a little bit to get more into the hamstrings here. If you've got your face framed, go ahead and switch your clasp, bringing the opposite arm in front. This kind of awkward side, it's not your default side, but awkwardness is the place where we have opportunities to grow, and we are able to have awkward conversations. One more big inhale here, and then let's release the arms if you have them held, and roll up slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Inhaling the arms down, around, and up, bringing the hands to heart center. And then we'll go ahead and inhale the arms down, around, and up. Interlace the fingers at top. And then you can't see my hands up there, but we'll flip the hands out, reaching the palms up towards the sky. Inhale here to center, and then we'll just exhale, getting a little spinal movement from side to side. Inhale to center, exhale to the left. Inhale back to center, exhale to the right. One more time to the left, keeping that focused mental awareness on that third eye area. And then release the hands down towards the earth. And we'll come into our mountain pose. Mountain pose is a really basic yoga posture. Tadasana in Sanskrit. Looks suspiciously like just standing there. But you can bring a new experience to every time you practice mountain pose. So rock gently forward and back on the feet until you find a place where you are really centered, where all sides of the feet, the balls of the feet, the heels, the inside, the outside are all pressing down onto your mat. Maybe lift the toes up and spread them wide apart to allow air to circulate through those toes. Gentle bend in the knee, just enough to keep the knees from being locked. Without moving the legs, kind of traction them inward so that you create space down here near the tailbone. Have the pelvis nice and neutral just underneath the heart so that the tailbone's neither sticking up nor scooped under, but right here in neutral. Heart's right over the pelvis. Lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then actively send them back and down. Maybe rotate the arms outward in opposition to the way the legs are tractioning. Letting the palms shine forward. Drawing the shoulder blades down towards the back pockets. Tucking the chin, lifting the heart, drawing the crown of the head towards the sky. closing the eyes if that feels good, or keeping a soft gaze on a nice stationary focal point to aid the balance here. Coming back to noticing the breath. Allowing the energy and the breath to flow through you freely with that sense of lightness, that sense of space, that place of intuitive imagination, drawing yourself up to your full dignified height, bringing the focus back to the third eye area, the space between the brows. One more breath here. And then we'll inhale the arms out, up alongside the ears, bring the palms together, and down to the heart. I'm so grateful that you came to join me for this practice today. If you found it beneficial for you, please like it down below. If you think it might be beneficial to someone else, please share it. And then we'll bring the thumbs up to the third eye area. All that is best and most beautiful in me honors the best and most beautiful in you. Namaste.